I noticed that toxic guys are the most proactive in relationships, dating, and it's starting to annoy me. I noticed while dating that it seems like most psychologically normal guys just won't be nearly as forward or proactive as toxic guys, especially in the first months of a relationship. I feel like because of this discrepancy it causes the toxic men to not only stand out more with their love bombing but also women to pay more attention to them because that's what we perceive as emotionally, physically, available to us. I'm sick of running into toxic guys.
Now you know the pattern, act on it.
Wow, this is so simple, yet so true. And it's not just typical love bombing. I think even lighter levels of constant attention are dopamine hit and easy to be attracted to just in time for it to implode.
This is funny, like almost comically funny.
Have you considered that you might have a bad association there? Like because of all the toxic guys, normal guys just don't feel like they're forward enough?
People who are a bit more of a loose cannon are pretty much by definition more active and fun. And who do people generally like to date? That's right, people who are more active and fun.
You are so close to getting it, I'm rooting for you.
You've got a good point here as well. Old is full of people who love to jump off cliffs, skydive and hike to the edge of oblivion. Tired of it TBH. Tears of joy.
If she's not interested, I'm not going to harass her. No means no, and maybe probably also means no. If you're dating only toxic people, I can't help but think that's on you.
I noticed this recently also. The most belligerently psychotic men I've known always had girlfriends.
Because being toxic gets you attention from women.
Yes, women pick these guys, usually for superficial reasons which I'm sure you won't admit, and then complain about men being awful when a bunch of good men never get picked. That builds resentment, and people will reap what they sow.
I made the first move on my BF. He didn't even believe me when I asked, he thought it was a joke. First time in my life I've actually felt truly loved and appreciated.
Well, that's because normal guys actually take their time in relationships to make sure it is a solid relationship. Of course you will notice love bombers, that's the whole point of their tactic. And yes, it feels good to be love bombed. That's why it works. But I am also a victim of love bombing, so I know how it is. You just have to be careful who you give your time to.
I've found a lot of PPL that have this problem. I had a guy tell me that he thought I didn't love him BC I didn't scream at him. It probably starts with our parents and gets reinforced when dating as a teenager. My mum would never yell, at least not in front of us. And if she was mad at one of us, we had a conversation, and now that's how I conduct my relationships.
I have found the following to be mostly people tend to attract healthy people and toxic people tend to attract toxic people. That is not to say two healthy people will get along or that two toxic people won't. Perhaps your issue is that you need guys to do something for you, beyond just being good people who you are getting to know and vice versa. Perhaps your expectation for some kind of show is the problem in the first place. Good guys have things going, responsibilities they need to balance, and they prioritize their lives, which may mean that a brand new budding relationship may not be the most important thing they have going early on. Maybe the toxic ones have nothing else going and perhaps they need something from you and so can devote tons of energy, time into wooing you. I don't know, just something to think about.
It's not that toxic guys are more forward. Forward guys inject toxicity into the game because, to be quite honest, women respond to it significantly better.
It's true, every time I approach a guy it goes way better than letting the loudest guy hit on me.
You're spot on. OP is attracted to people that provide them with abnormal levels of love, appreciation and attention. That's because OP has an unhealthy understanding of how relationships work. If you're only attracted to toxic guys, that's your problem.
Don't forget sushi and Disney.
Carrot top comment material.
You're right, I need a lot of attention in relationships when they're first getting started to feel secure. But then when it's going I back off a lot and go back to normal, so I think this may be part of the problem.
After dating someone obsessed with Disney, never again.
You should look at your attachment style, anxious, and do some work there, or these will be the people you find attractive. You are actively choosing toxic people and asking for toxicity by needing a lot of attention. It's not great for building a healthy foundation. I say this as someone who used to do this. IG highly recommend. It might be helpful for you. Smile.
That's just the term for what they are doing. It's called love bombing. Doesn't imply you're actually in love, it's just when they give you nothing but good feelings, say and do everything right, and it gets the other person in a haze and eventually addicted to the feelings so that they then crave the behavior, because a little bit of being treated like is okay as long as that good feeling comes again.
It also does not involve actual bombs.
Normal guys aren't going to rush into relationships. They understand that you can't walk into a first date thinking they're going to marry this woman. Obviously, there's the extreme where they act completely unavailable and uninterested, but if you find and appreciate that middle ground, you're golden. Genuinely, I'm gonna use myself as the example here, but in my dating days I went on around 70 to 80 first dates. The first half of those when I was young and insecure and got my validation from someone, anyone wanting me. I went on dates with anyone I could. Eventually I went on a date with a woman who was a solicitor. She had her own money, her own car, her own place. She basically had her together. It ended up only being a short-term thing, but it made me realize that for me to be happy with who I was dating I needed to be fussier and go for the things that I liked in a person rather than just who was willing and going in with some mad hope of, you never know. After that, it took another 40 or whatever dates, but dating became fun. There we no more bad dates, just dates with people who weren't right for me. With every date I learned more about what I wanted, what I didn't want, and a little better at how to recognize these things. And then I met my wife.
Boring likely, lol.
I just got done with a toxic guy a few months ago. My head is still. That toxic guy actually knew not to come on too aggressive. What's a girl to do?
What is she close to getting? 'Cause I don't get it either.
This is me right now. I'm so guilty of the, you never know. I'm super specific about what I want, and I feel as if I just like guys who fit my criteria, then I'll never find anyone.
There are a lot of people who, when they're not in a relationship, will sit at home and slowly slip into a dark depression, developing feelings of worthlessness that grow darker and more intense with every passing week, until many of them either attempt or succeed at ending their dating websites. Are where you'll meet a lot of people who simply cannot be alone, though in past eras they would just get arranged marriage to someone, anyone really, and that would be enough for them to be happy.
Not for me, I usually get rejected. Maybe I come on too strong or need too much affection, attention from them.
That by and large, even given all the information up front, people will still choose toxic. No different than choosing sugary processed foods over healthy ones. The candy bar doesn't need to pretend to be a broccoli to trick you into eating it, and neither does the toxic guy. They're both bad for you, and you know it, but you want it anyway. People love pretending they ordered a salad and got chocolate cake by accident. Sure, that might have happened the first time, but the next 5 times, you've gotta admit you crave chocolate a lot more than romaine.
As in she, and others, should avoid this type of person from the get-go instead of entertaining them even for 1 to 2 dates at the beginning.
Facts. I'm allergic to toxic men and don't get women who entertain them, tbh. Not everyone likes super needy people, always wanting attention. But you don't have to come on super strong, you can approach in a laid-back way and casually flirt, after getting confirmation he's single.
Me trying to be the more outgoing guy and I haven't had a GF in years. The girl actually puts the effort in and asks me out, and it's always worked out. Longest relationship was 6 years like this.
It's honestly not how I start, it's just that I feel like they never initiate on their end enough for me, so it ends up being a one-way street because like I said I need a lot of attention. Then things just fizzle, or they end up dating or valuing someone else over me because I'm too present and available.
I wonder if wariness off love bombing or any type of moving too fast makes some people perceive actual passivity as stability. Like I dated a guy once who barely put in any effort, and I had this friend who would convince me otherwise when I voiced my gut feeling, asking me things like, "Don't you like how slow it is?" But she was also over-fixated on the fact that I was very attracted to him than on whether he was actually good for me.
This is how all of my best relationships have bloomed, a girl hitting on me and I reciprocate. I don't know if I have grown or if I just don't know how to style myself as a 30-year-old man. I think it's probably both, but I don't have girls chat me up anymore, and when I approach girls it's like pulling teeth, and if they ain't excited I'm not interested. Not really into chasing girls, too competitive, makes me feel replaceable. Girls who approach and flirt first are the best.